Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be testing out the brand new Bobbi Brown Skin Long Wearing Weightless Foundation. Sorry I've been doing so many foundation reviews lately, but these are like my most requested videos to do, so I just love doing them. If you guys are new here, I do have very oily skin. I also have acne prone skin, sensitive skin, and a little bit of rosacea, so just a little background on my skin before we get started. I'm going to be doing this foundation review just like all my other ones. I am going to be doing a wear test, probably about 10 hours I usually try to make it. If you guys like these types of videos, then be sure to subscribe to my channel because I do a ton of foundation reviews here on my channel. And without further ado, let's just get right into this. Okay, so this is what the bottle looks like. I love foundation bottles that have frosted glass. There's just something about it that I am just obsessed with. This foundation was $46 and you do get 1 fluid ounce, which is standard for foundations. So I don't think it's too pricey, especially for a Bobbi Brown foundation. And they did come out with 30 different shades, which judging by the pictures online, it does look like a pretty good shade range. So props to them for that. So a little bit about this foundation. It's supposed to be a medium to full coverage foundation. So it's buildable, it's oil free, long wearing, it has a natural matte finish, and then it's for oily, combination, or normal skin types. I'm just reading online here and it says that it's a non-acne genic formula with marine sugarcane algae extract, which is awesome because I do have acne prone skin. A lot of things tend to break me out. So I love that they're stressing that in the description of it, that it's non-acne genic. And another thing that I thought was pretty cool is the moisture binding glycerin delivers refreshing hydration. So although this is a matte foundation, it does have moisturizing like properties in it, so your skin doesn't feel too matte. Okay, so let's get into testing this out. So I usually do a primer on half my face and then no primer on the other half. I usually use my Canon mattifying primer, but today I'm going to be using my Dr. Brandt Pores No More primer. This is another one of my all-time favorite primers, and I thought that you guys were probably getting sick of me using the Canon one, so I decided to switch it up a little bit today. So I'm just gonna put a little bit. Oh my gosh, there was an air bubble in this and it literally just flew across my room. Okay, so I'm gonna be putting a little bit of the primer on the right side of my face. Okay, and then I usually like to let my primer sink in for a couple minutes before I put foundation over it. So I'm gonna work on the left side first. Online it says you can either use a damp sponge, a brush, or your fingers. I hate applying foundation with my fingers, so I'm gonna be working with a brush and a sponge. Actually, before we get started, I totally forgot to do this. So you guys have been asking me to insert swatches of my shades and other foundations just so you guys can compare what the shade looks like. I've never done this before, but I'm gonna try it out since you guys have been requesting it so much. So again, I have the shade Beige 3. And then I'm gonna swatch all my other perfect shades in foundations right now and insert that clip. Okay, so starting right here, we have the Bobbi Brown foundation in the shade Beige 3. Right next to it, we have the new NARS foundation in the shade Medium 1 Punjab. Then we have Estee Lauder Double Wear in 2N1 Desert Beige. Here we have the new Too Faced Peach Matte Foundation, my favorite foundation ever. This one is in the shade Nude. Right here we have Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation in the shade 140 equals Y305. Next to that we have the Revlon Color Stay Foundation in the shade 300 Golden Beige. And then the last one is Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. This one is in the shade 128 Warm Nude. Okay, now let's get into trying this out. So I'm gonna start on this side of my face with a sponge. This is my L'Oreal Pro sponge, I think it's called. So I'm just gonna put 1 pump on the back of my hand. And then I'll start with half of this. Okay, so it spreads and blends out pretty easily. I definitely wouldn't consider this medium coverage though. This is more sheer, I would say. So that was half a pump, but I'm definitely gonna have to go in with more because it did not cover up hardly any of my redness or my acne, but it does look really pretty so far. I am gonna go in with the rest of what's on my hand though, so I'll put 1 full pump on the side of my face. Color is a perfect match though. I thought it was gonna be a little bit too light, but it actually blends in perfectly. Okay, so I'm gonna take the rest of what's on my hand then. See how this builds up. It definitely has a fragrance to it. I don't know if it's the sunscreen that I'm smelling, but it's not too strong. I don't really mind it. Okay, so it's building up nicely and I'm loving the finish of this. It's like a really soft matte and I really like it. Okay, so still would not consider this full coverage, even though I did put an entire pump on the side of my face. I can still see my acne and some acne scarring and a little bit of redness on my cheek. So I'm gonna go in with even more to see how far we can build this up, because it's not looking cakey. It definitely doesn't look like there's too much on my skin at all. Like, I actually can't even see any foundation. Okay, so I just put one more pump in the back of my hand, and then I picked up about half of that. Okay, so this is building up beautifully. Sometimes when you try to build foundations up and get more coverage out of them, they can start to look a little bit heavy and cakey and just like thick on the skin. This is not doing that at all. So I put about a pump and a half, maybe a little bit more on the side of my face. I think it looks really, really good. Okay, so let's move on to the other side now. I'm just gonna go in with another full pump, and we're gonna use a brush on this side. I'm using a Sigma F80 brush. This is my favorite foundation brush. It's so soft, I'm obsessed with it. I'm gonna take half of this pump and start with that. Definitely I'm getting more coverage with the brush, which, I mean, you usually do get more coverage with brushes because there's no moisture in them. Wow, this foundation looks so pretty, you guys. I am gonna go in with a little bit more. I'm not gonna take the whole thing. It is matte, but it still has a little bit of like radiance to it, which I'm loving. Okay, so here we are up close and personal. I'm really liking the way that it looks on my skin. I don't think my texture is enhanced. My pores look pretty good and my nose looks good. It is settling a little tiny bit in my smile lines and in the line in my chin, just a tad. I say this in a lot of my videos, but although I do have oily skin, my oily skin is also dehydrated because I take medication that dries out my skin. So I do get some dry patches here and there, especially around where I get my acne. So it is happening a little bit right here, but the foundation isn't enhancing that. So I hope it doesn't do that later on, like throughout the day. Yeah, so far I think it looks great. I'm gonna finish up my makeup and then I will be right back. Okay, so I just finished the rest of my makeup and this is what it looks like. I'm still loving the way that it looks on the skin. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it looks so far. It doesn't look too dry or anything like some matte foundations can look on my skin. All of my makeup went on top of it very nicely. I didn't have any issues with it. I'm gonna check back in with you guys in about 4 or 5 hours. It's already 4 o'clock. I did not realize it was so late already. Why did I think it was like 12? So I'm gonna check back in about 4 to 5 hours and show you guys what it's looking like on my skin. So I will see you guys then. I just want to show you guys what the foundation looks like in natural daylight. So I'm just standing in front of my big window. Piggy, what are you doing? What? Anyway, so this is what the shade looks like. Hey guys, so I changed clothes because I just got done filming another video, but it is now 9:57, so 10 p.m. It has been 6 hours now. Usually by the 6 hour mark, I am an oily mess and the foundation is like super separated and cakey, and this one looks great so far. It hasn't transferred anywhere that I've touched my face. I have very little oil peeking through. The only place that I'm noticing a little bit of a shine is the very corners of my nose and then the center of my forehead. Other than that, there's no oil. It has settled in my fine lines, really only the one on the left side of my mouth and that dimple, and it also has settled in the line in my chin, which honestly happens like with almost every foundation. It's very, very hard to find a foundation that doesn't happen in. So I kind of expect that going into every foundation. I could easily just probably press it out with my finger, put some setting powder on it, and it'd be fine. I'm super, super impressed so far. I'm still gonna keep wearing this for a few more hours and I'll check back in at probably like the 10-hour mark and show you guys how it lasted on my skin, but so far so good. Okay guys, it's the end of the day now. It is 1 a.m. so it's been 9 hours and this foundation looks so good right now. I'm definitely shiny. I'm a little bit oily, especially on my forehead, but not bad. The foundation is not separating. It's not caking up. It really isn't settling like that much into my fine lines. It isn't really transferring. It's still on the lower halves of my cheeks, which like never happens. Foundation is usually off by the end of the day. I don't think I'm any more oily on the side that I used the primer or that I didn't use the primer. The primer really didn't make too much of a difference besides filling in my pores like on my nose and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and blot anywhere that I have a little bit of oil, and I use the Fenty Beauty blotting powder. This is my favorite blotting powder. Okay, so I'm just picking up some of the blotting powder on the brush, tapping off the extra, and then I just very lightly tap over anywhere that looks a little bit shiny. After I blot it, it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look funky or anything. It actually looks almost like brand new. I'm super, super impressed with this foundation. I'm so happy it worked out. I feel like I've just been having the worst luck with foundation reviews lately. Like the last 5 that I've tested out just haven't looked good. Actually, the NARS one I did like, but yeah, so I'm super happy this worked out. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and if you guys have any other foundation recommendations for me to try out, let me know down in the comments and I will definitely get to those. I'm trying to get through as many foundation reviews as I possibly can, so that's why I'm kind of uploading a lot of these, but there's just so many foundations to try, especially new ones. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it did help you out, then give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.